I'm going to tell you how to become more comfortable being honest in your relationship. Because that right there, that part, right, the discomfort in living in your truth is the artery reason why people struggle to be forthcoming, to be transparent, to be very clear and concise in the information they deliver to their partner around very important topics and subject matters. None of us wants to be the bad guy. None of us wants to be the person that causes the discomfort in the relationship. No one wants to be the one that causes the awkward silence, right? Or to be the reason why your partner is feeling down on themselves or feeling like they're not enough or all these different things. So oftentimes, whenever we come to have really important dialogue and conversations, we can struggle to speak up for ourselves because of the emotional fallout or impact we feel it may have in that uncomfortable experience it may produce for us because of the uncomfortable experience we see our partners having as a result. See, in our society, we're so heavily conditioned to keep the pleasantries, right? Make sure everyone feels good in the dialogue, in the conversation. And where, yes, I agree, we should always create a safe space to where no one should feel attacked and no one should feel like they're being, taken advantage of or whatever in a conversation, right? Everyone should be heard and understood, which should be a comfortable experience. But we get to the place to where we're trying to go so far out of our way to make the other person feel comfortable or not to rub them the wrong way or not to offend or not make them feel rejected and all these things that we start convoluting our truth. We start bending around some of the details. We start delivering the message in a way that is not as direct as it is relaying in our minds. We're thinking one thing and we're trying to give that information in a fractional or some sort of, morphed or warped version of it to our partner that deep down we know is not conveying exactly the way we feel. It's about getting the job done to where we walk away from that conversation feeling like, oh, well, I told him, right? I put it out there. We'll say something like, you doing that thing. I don't know how I feel about that, without saying, no, what you just did doesn't work for me, right? Big difference. But yet a lot of times we'll walk away feeling, oh, I told them I didn't like that, right? Because I said, I don't know how I feel about it. It's like I gave you the signs. If I was in your shoes, I would go and pick up on it and say, oh, they must not like that, right? And it's one of the worst ways to try to communicate, because now what you've just done is you've projected the way you see the world and the way you operate onto their understanding and reasoning abilities, right? So that you're assuming they're going to be you pretty much to come to the same conclusions that you're coming to. And what it does is it allows you to take yourself off the hook for actually speaking up directly and concisely. Or let's look at the other side of the tracks to where maybe you don't have a problem necessarily speaking up and being direct, but you don't speak up at all oftentimes, because whenever you do, you feel like it's going to be a catastrophe, or it is, right? And now, where to be fair, this might be because your partner's not great at receiving constructive feedback, right? Or hearing things that you have an issue with that maybe they are a part of the cause of. That could be true. But then more often than not, it's the way we deliver. Oftentimes, we don't operate in a successful manner of articulating whatever we're trying to communicate to the other person in a way that is constructive or effective or actually healthy. A lot of times it is in an attacking type of sense, or it's received the wrong way on the other side because of the way it's being delivered, right? To where you start to learn, I'm better off just not saying anything or bite my tongue on stuff that, is not that deep, until now you look up and you have resentment built up because of all the things you don't say more often than not in your relationship, to where your intention is to keep peace, but you're unintentionally creating a dishonest foundation in your relationship because the truth is not being relayed back and forth. So the way you build the muscle to become comfortable being honest, meaning always speaking up. And when you do speak up, what you say is clear and concise, say exactly what you mean. What you mean is exactly what comes out of your mouth, right? So the way you do this is you have to first get clear on, is what I am trying to communicate, is it fair? Is it healthy? Is it serving to both of us? Meaning checking whether whatever you're about to say to your partner is something that is more loving. Because look, even if you have something to say about how you feel about the way that your partner's operating or what have you, it doesn't have to be delivered in a way that's negative toned. It doesn't have to be you attacking them. It doesn't have to be something that sounds debative, right? Like you're trying to start an argument. It can be loving and constructive and say, hey, I just want to, cross check some things with you and touch base on something I feel a way about, or that something that's been on my heart and I don't want to feel this way because I love you and I want us to be locked in, right? You can set it up any kind of way you want that does have a loving foundation to it. So just check that first, because that's an artery piece that will sooner cause you to say, I don't know if I want to do this, or be reluctant to coming to your partner to live in your truth because you feel what you're about to say is going to upset them, because in your mind, it sounds upsetting if you were to hear it, right? So ask yourself, is what I'm about to say loving, right? And then is it serving to us? Am I being fair in this? Is this something that maybe I'm kind of questioning bringing up because maybe it's just my way, my thing, and people usually are looking at me with three heads when I'm speaking my thing. So I start second guessing whether my thing, my issue, or whatever it is even appropriate to begin with. And so it's safer to not put myself out there and get burnt by saying something that now I get criticized or condemned for. And I feel bad, like I have a messed up way of seeing the world, which makes you less likely to want to speak up. So the way you ask yourself, is this fair or not, is we go back to the definition of what serving is. Ask yourself, is what I'm thinking, is all the pieces I put into the equation that I feel are accurate here, are they helpful, right? For whatever I need to bring up to my partner, is what is in light of something that's helpful that I feel like needs to be addressed? Is it positive? Is it loving? Does it feed our spirits and does it build us up? Does it do all five? And if you can say, hey, what I'm noticing or what I'm experiencing, I need to speak up on because what my partner's doing or not doing is contributing to us not having an experience that is helpful, positive, loving, feeding the spirit and building us up? Or is the headspace that I'm in and what I'm thinking about and what I want to bring to my partner because I want this thing my way or whatever, is that thing something that is helpful to both of us, positive for both of us, loving for both of us, feeds both of our spirits, builds both of us up, right? See, if you have things you want to live in that is your truth, it has to also be something that serves you. And if it serves you, it serves your partner. Oftentimes we can struggle to live in our truth whenever we feel like the thing we're bringing to our partner, we don't necessarily internally or subconsciously see a route to where it's beneficial to them, what we're saying. And it's more so just for us. We feel like we need it though. So that's why you got to cross check what you feel you need and why you actually can determine it is something that's healthy and is serving to you. And if it serves you and it's healthy for you, that means it's healthy and serving to your partner and therefore healthy and serving to your relationship. And then the next things you have to do is you have to start taking small steps, just like being in the gym, right? And building muscle towards building your honesty muscle, meaning you don't jump in there and trying to lift the most weight ever or run the longest you ever have or known to man on the treadmill. It means you go in there and you start the increments that are small to start building your comfortability, living in your truth no matter what. Because here's the thing. It's on one side, you have to police the way you deliver your truth, right? And it's your partner's responsibility to create a safe space to deliver your truth. But you can't hang the responsibility ultimately of you living in your truth on your partner's ability to create that safe space. Yes, they should do that on their end, but you can't say, I'm not living in my truth and speaking up because when I do, my partner doesn't make it comfortable. At some point, you have to choose who you're going to be for you, because being who you need to be for you is going to serve your relationship one way or another. Either it serves in the sense of your partner recognizes, well, it's not even a choice. I have to create a safe space for my partner to speak right now because hey, I can't have them bottle themselves up. And clearly they're not allowing themselves to be bottled up and they're speaking up and speaking out. Or you learn that when you do that, your partner keeps fighting back and pushing back to not let you have that space and not make it safe and comfortable for you to open up and live in your truth. To where you learn that maybe this is not the person for you and maybe you need to walk away. Either way, living in your truth gets you a truthful outcome that serves you no matter what. And if it serves you, it serves them. Even if the answer is the relationship ending, to serve both of you ultimately. So what you're going to start doing is practicing low stakes honesty regularly, meaning in manners or conversations or situations that you deem aren't that serious and it stands to not be a huge emotional fallout or impact or something in some way, right? That's where you start practicing living in your truth in those areas, right? So for example, say, your partner picks out a dinner place they want to go to, Or maybe it's a place they always pick. You've never spoken up about it before, but you don't like that place. Use that as an opportunity to start voicing, hey, I'm not really feeling that restaurant, or I don't really like it there. I know you like it there, but that's not really my thing. Can we, decide on a different place, right? To where you're starting to build the habitual system in yourself to get familiar with leaning into speaking up about things that may push against your partner and what they like or what they desire or what they want to hear. Maybe a social topic or something comes up on the TV, something you see on the news, something, maybe it's about politics or whatever, right? And we know that politics topic can always get into something deep and can become very debative, but it's still a great practice ground for you to be able to go and challenge certain things in a healthy manner, or speak up about how you see it versus maybe how your partner does, to get more comfortable with living in your truth, but delivering it in a loving way, to where you're not so concerned about how your partner receives it and more so concerned about how you deliver it. And you're less debilitated by how well your partner sets up a comfortable space to allow you to live in your truth. And you're more concerned with being who you are and speaking up for yourself, because you care about yourself enough and your partner enough to speak your truth to them no matter what or how they choose to feel about it. And the more you build this muscle over time, look, it's about consistency over time of doing the right actions. And so the more you do this over time, you start building that subconscious muscle and that internal muscle and reflex to living your truth more often and regularly when it gets to bigger things, right? It builds up your confidence to see the tangible outcome of, wow, okay, I'm learning that I can say some things more like I want to and not have to withhold my truth. Or I'm learning that the more I do this, it's a little bit more comfortable for me to do this, regardless of how my partner receives it, as long as I'm trying to be loving when I do it, and it's always constructive and it's towards something beneficial or uplifting of us and not something that tears us down. And the more you build this momentum, it's going to make you way better prepared in the moments that matter the most, with the biggest and most crucial information and conversations, so you can successfully navigate those without being dishonest unintentionally. Because none of us wants to be the bad guy, but you can definitely wind up on that side of the tracks if you're doing not so healthy, quote unquote, bad things with the right intentionality. Because the intentionality usually is to preserve peace or not cause issues or what have you, or not make the situation awkward. But you start creating more awkwardness down the road as the truth winds up coming out. And you've been giving everything but that exactly, which now puts things into more question, disrupts the trust and foundation of your relationship, and it causes an onslaught of things and issues that you don't need if you can just build the muscle to be honest no matter what. Let's get it.